those things can give you cancer. I mean, I've done some toxicology tests in the lab, and I was wondering if you could tell me, in the future, do I make it?
No.
Hugh Jackman is the perfect example of a soulmate, and I'm not just saying that because he's Australian.
I'm Canadian.
I mean, come on, the dude's as perfect as a man can get, and if any of the haters are out there listening, I've got a message for you.
Go fuck yourself, pretty boy.
Okay, I know you're all hardcore Wolverine fans, and let's face it, we can never get enough of his savagery. I know that for a fact because you loved my video on it. So here we go again, as the TVCU proudly presents the Wolverine's Biggest Flexes, Volume 2.
I'm gonna get her.
We are grateful for your protection of Mariko.
Go fuck yourself, pretty boy.
Who would have thought that they'd let Logan get away with 2 F-bombs in the same movie? After tracing Mariko's location to the village of Ichiro's birth, the Wolverine sets out to rescue his latest lover. Unfortunately, he's got to deal with Harada and his ninjas first. Harada tries to smart-talk Logan, but he doesn't know that he's competing against the ultimate king of sass, so he's met with a brutal response.
Go fuck yourself, pretty boy.
It's one thing to dismiss someone with the F-word, but to also call him pretty is a different kind of insult. I mean, the best kind of troll is one backed with a sarcastic compliment, and Logan totally nails that without any extra effort. It's obviously got a different kind of energy as compared to the scene with Professor X and Magneto, but all in all, it still creates a decent impact, and it sure got the crowd going when I watched it in the theaters.
Come on!
Grow those back.
I usually love bringing up the final showdown between the Wolverine and the Phoenix, but there's another gem of a scene in this sequence that no one really talks about. It's this mini battle Logan has with a mutant who can regenerate his body parts. I mean, I think his name is Starfish, but don't sue me if I'm wrong, okay? The feisty hunk wastes no time in chopping off his opponent's arms, but the dude keeps growing them back and the fight carries on longer than it should. Of course, Logan doesn't like to waste time, so he decides the best way to beat this guy is to nip him in the nutsack, and yikes, that does look bad. That's not even the best part. The true boss man moment comes when Wolverine casually says,
Grow those back.
That was a total LOL comment. It was so self-aware, and the timing of that line was just perfect. I don't know who exactly writes Logan lines, but that guy deserves a raise.
We work as a team.
Best defense is a good offense.
There's no professor here, I told you that.
Look, kid, you and I are gonna be good friends. You just don't know it yet.
Logan and Hank McCoy have always had this kind of love-hate relationship, and even going back in time to the 70s didn't stop the Wolverine from having some fun with his blue-faced buddy. At first there's just a bit of harmless horseplay as he tries to get the beast out of the nerdy-looking Hank, but that doesn't work, so he decides to stop playing around and knocks the door open. Given that Hank's pretty much like Professor X's bodyguard cum butler, he tries to send Logan away, and that's when we get the perfectly phrased line. More than anything else, it's the totally humiliating bitch slap that really nails the scene.
Emotional, damn it!
I mean, Hank was so embarrassed that he had to let the beast come out to deal with his emotional damage. Well, look at the bright side, Hank. At least you weren't presenting an award show in front of a live audience.
Keep fucking my wife's mouth!
I'm going to, okay?
Wait, is that you? Your striker finally figured out how to shut you up.
Usually, when you meet a super deadly mutant hybrid that's capable of taking down an entire army all by himself, you try to be a little more serious in your approach. Logan, on the other hand, uses sarcasm as a coping mechanism. After finally coming across the unofficial abomination that is a Weapon X-style Deadpool, Logan notices that his lips have been sewn together. So, what's his first plan of action? He praises Stryker for finally finding a way to keep his mouth shut. Now, listen, Ryan Reynolds is well known for being a loudmouth that just doesn't stop. Also, to be fair, Deadpool is called the foul-mouthed assassin, so that logic does kind of make sense, but I don't think that Logan was looking at pop culture references when he landed this line. Anyway, it just shows that the adamantium soldier didn't give 2 shits about Reynolds, and this event led us to some hilarious exchanges both on and off the camera, so I'm glad it happened.
One day, your old pal Wade's gonna ask you to get back in the saddle again. And when he does, say yes.
Oh, right.
Eric!
You abandoned us all.
So you were always an asshole.
Man, Logan's really got no chill, does he? First, Magneto and Charles have a little argument because, Eric stole his girl, but Magneto shifts the focus to the bigger picture and lashes out at Charles for abandoning his people when they needed him the most. Now, Logan could have interfered at any point of time here, but he clearly doesn't care, so he sits back and enjoys the show.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
That is, of course, till Magneto almost crashes the plane, but luckily, he calms down before shit goes down. That's Logan's cue to come up with a rather honest observation. He's like,
So you were always an asshole.
and Eric doesn't like that kind of talk, so he tries to mock Wolverine, but all he says to that is,
Pick all that shit up.
yeah, cool as a cucumber, and he still stings like a bee. That's Wolverine for you.
After I kill Victor, I'm coming for you. You wanted the animal, Colonel. You got it.
This man can pull off an intense action sequence and still have enough room for a few witty entendres. After an intense battle against Agent Zero and his team, Logan obviously comes out on top and gets a hold of his headset where he learns that Stryker's been orchestrating the whole deal. The balding villain tries to sweet talk his way out of it, but you can't bullshit a legend like the freaking Wolverine. He cuts him off by saying,
After I kill Victor, I'm coming for you.
and hangs up without a care in the world. Agent Zero tries to act cool by mocking Logan, but he only establishes himself as a grade A dick. That prompts Logan to start a fire and blow up the chopper behind him as he walks away from the explosion in typical boss man fashion. You can overload a mutant with powers, but that kind of sass doesn't come from test tubes.
Those people down there, they control our fate and the fate of every other mutant.
You're so full of shit. If you were really so righteous, it'd be you in that thing.
When the OG X-Men film came out, nobody expected the Wolverine to become as popular as he did. A huge chunk of this response was because of his total devil-may-care attitude that was completely against even the standard anti-hero norms at the time. The best example of this is in the final battle when Magneto traps all the good mutants in metal rods and starts another boring lecture on mutant suppression. Logan ain't gonna sit there and take this crap, so he rightfully calls him out, and he sure doesn't hold back on the profanities. He openly challenges Eric, saying he's full of shit, and it would have been him operating the lazily named mutating machine if he was so righteous. It's not just a sassy reply, it's an actual statement that even Magneto isn't able to address directly, and it goes on to show Logan's total lack of fear. Now, that's the kind of attitude that would bring even Donald Trump to his knees. No, not in that way, you sick freaks.
Storm. What do they call you? Wheels? This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
This line had me dying in the cinema halls even when I was just a little kid. Logan's being examined and rested at the X-Mansion where he comes across a lot of different mutants. There's Storm, his obvious love interest Jean Grey, and the dude in his way, Scott Summers. And then he meets the one and only Professor X. If I was in his position, I'd be very thankful to these guys for helping me recover, but I'm no Logan, so it doesn't really matter. He seems to be amused by everyone's mutant names, and if that wasn't bad enough, he decides to make a joke that wouldn't have flown in today's political climate. He sees Charles in a wheelchair and asks,
What do they call you? Wheels?
The whole room was stunned into silence by this line, and honestly speaking, I still like that joke. Like, that's the leader of one half of the mutant community, and you just casually make fun of his condition. Yeah, that's what I call a real savage move. Move over, Megan Thee Stallion.
Cyclops, right? You want to get out of my way?
Get out. I am the Minister of Justice. Do you have any idea what I could do to you?
Really? You mean to try and talk tough standing there in your red underwear?
Logan has no shame when it comes to invading people's personal space, even if they're trying to get hot and heavy between the sheets. We see that in full effect as he and Yukio sneak inside Maury's private room where he's having a very private affair, if you like. Honestly speaking, Logan does everyone a favour here, because I don't think any of us wanted to see Maury pull off any more dance moves in that red underwear. The Wolverine is a little polite to the girls by asking them to leave, but not so much with Maury, who tries to act tough, but is then hilariously reminded of the clothes, or rather lack of clothes, that he's wearing. I mean, who's going to take you seriously in that outfit, even if you tell them you're the Minister of Defense? Maury keeps his mouth shut, but all it takes is a couple of bitch slaps to get him talking. Now, that's how you pull off a successful interrogation.
English! Who the hell is this?
Smells like government.
Your country needs you.
I'm Canadian.
We've all got tons of things to say when it comes to politics, but nobody can sum up these emotions better than the one and only Wolverine. Stryker and Agent Zero pay Logan a visit and he picks up on their scent instantly. When his co-worker asks him who they are, he comes up with a simple yet effective reply. Smells like government. He sure hits the nail on the head there because that perfectly covers Stryker's whole vibe. He and Agent Zero then get into a little war of words.
You still chewing on cheap cigars?
But then Stryker asks him to shush and leave them alone. Obviously, Wolverine's not going to let such a golden opportunity go to waste, so he totally humiliates Agent Zero by ordering him to get lost, and even makes the kind of sounds you'd usually make to shoo a dog away.
Attaboy.
Bruh, he totally owned him in this one.
You know, I'm not proud about the way things ended between us.
Conversation's over.
And there you go, my fellow Regents. That was Volume 2 of Wolverine's sassiest moments. If you want to engage with me some more, then head over to the description. You'll find links to my Patreon, my socials, and my brand new Discord server as well. Also, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the TV Regent.